all the participants in week 10. In this week 10, we are going to discuss about the community participation as so important of people's participation in governing and development in recent years is highly recognized both by national and international organizations. According to many authors, it has been believed that community participation is integral and so important for the community development, community work. Community organization is so important and so important for the social action. So this is very important. To talk about community participation in length and breadth, and how and what kind of the tools which is which we have to learn to make the community participation possible, right? So these are the contents of week 10. So here we are going to discuss about the defining what is community participation, types and aims of community participation. We are going to discuss about the dimensions and principles of community participation. We are also going to talk about the importance of people's and community participation, and then overall then we will discuss about the very important tool of people's participation and then research methodology through participatory way. So that is the participatory rural appraisal and participatory learning and action, which is known as the PRA-PLA techniques. And then we will also at the end we will discuss about the different tools and learn the different tools and techniques under the PRA-PLA ideology or PRA-PLA techniques. Okay, let's start with the what does this community participation means. So, social and community participation refers to the active involvement of the individuals within their communities and for the broader society. Sometimes social and community participation plays a pivotal role in actually fostering a vibrant, inclusive and resilient societies. When the community participate, it's became more giving the space for the inclusive participation. It serves as a foundation for building strong social bonds and sense of belonging among individuals. When people actively involve and participate in their communities, they not only contribute to the betterment of society, but also benefit personally through increased social support, improved mental well-being and a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities with their communities. That's all finally sum up to the to make them more empowered. So additionally, community engagement and community participation often leads to collaborative efforts that address local issues, promote civic responsibility and drive a positive change in a broader scale, because once the peoples come forward and do participate, they can actually bring changes in the bigger issues. So that's why this community participation is so important and to understand the whole idea, whole concept of people's participation, how it has to be used, and how we can utilize this people's participation, what are the different level of people's participation. It's all important to be to know by the social workers. So it is a process by which community mobilize its resources, initiate and takes responsibility for its own development activities and share in decision making for an implementation for all other developmental programs for the overall improvement in the in any aspect of their life, be it health, education and all. So essentially it involves individual contributions, their time, the skills, the resources to enhance the well-being and cohesion of the community. There are some definition, as McFarlane has says that community participation as collective efforts to increase and exercise control over resources on the part of groups and movements of those hitherto excluded from control. So through the people's participation, this definition has suggested that through participation or people's participation, the things which were not which was not under their control, they can make it possible for they can use those things, and then it could be possible only through this kind of the positive participation. According to the MacArthur, participation is an empowering process. We have already discussed so much and many a time that how this participation create and give the empowerment to the community. So participation, as per the MacArthur, is an empowering process in which people in partnership with each other and those able to assist them identify problem and needs, mobilize resources and assume responsibilities, assume responsibility to plan, manage and control and assess the individuals and collective actions that may themselves decide upon. So overall, if you look into these definitions, so that community, as Macfarlane has viewed the community participation as a collective effort by the marginalized groups to gain and exert control over the resources, whereas MacArthur's describe participation as an empowering process where people working together and with support of from others identify problem, mobilize the resources and take responsibility for planning, managing and evaluating action based on their own decisions, what the decisions they have taken. Both the definition actually emphasize the control, empowerment and determination in the community participation is possible. As per the Cohen and Uphold has said that maintain that participation include the people's involvement in the entire decision making process. So participation is not at just the stage of planning, but at every stage the participation is required. As Zubair Menai has mentioned and conceptualized the participation it's ranging from contribution by the people to public program to the involvement of the people in the entire decision making process. So it's also, this definition talks about the level of participation at every level. So participation means taking part. That's what in simply we could say, that taking part. So in the context of developmental theories, participation means actually direct involvement of all those people in the decision making process which are likely to to affect their lives. They actually, the way participation is defined largely depend upon the context and background in which participation has been applied. Defining community participation. So community participation is based on people-centered or human-centric principles. So this is so important to understand that through participation, it's actually give the opportunities to peoples to talk about their own issues, and everything is about the people's. It's a democratic aspect where the public participation play a very important role in empowerment. A true participatory approach is one in which actually everyone's perspective is considered, right? That does not mean that people can't challenge others' assumptions or argue about what the best strategy might be. So it's about the people-centered, it's about the human-centric aspect, because it's actually bring changes into the human's life. Community participation is advanced by the humanistic movement, social movement, and in the context of postmodernism. So here in the modern era, where the community participation is taken, is so important in every kind of the movements. Community participation may advanced as part of the people first paradigm. So this people first paradigm is what is maybe advanced as a part of the, in this case it is argued that whether it can sustain productivity and durable change, it helps decision makers to take into account the problem of the excluded groups such as those affected by or any disability or any disabled group or any disadvantaged community. So here it means the people first. It's not about the program first or the policy first, rather it's mainly about the people first paradigm, where the people is taken as the most important ingredient of any policy or for any social action. Community participation in rural development is widely recognized as a basic operational principle of rural development. So definitely in the rural community areas, where this all we are talking about, that we are going to talk about the PRA, Participatory Rural Appraisal, and we have also witnessed the kind of decentralization. The 73rd Amendment, 74th Amendment talks about that how the people's participation and bottom up approach is important for the development, particularly for the rural India. Now coming to the framework for the community participation, two of the more prominent framework for community participation in recognizing that such framework represent simplification of a far complex reality. A number of these complexities are then explored, means in a community there are many kind of the complexities. So in what framework we have to choose and what to choose. So one thing is that we have to keep in mind the dimensions of power within a community. So examining how power dynamics affect participation, how means in the status quo in the overall structure of the community, whether how many community members and which community members has been included, which community has not been given chance to participate, who holds the power. So this is all important, and if this power structure is so strong in a community, so this is difficult sometime to take the participation of the disadvantaged community, because they are in fear, they are in so much in a kind of things that this their fate as the even they cannot participate, they don't have the power, they don't have the say. So this is what the dimension of power, and in some community it could be like that the dimension of power or the power structure is not that much strong, and it allows the community to participate. So it is easy in that situation to take the participation of the community. Then issues of process and capacity. So this is what the considering the process and the capacity is required for effective participation. So for what issue you are actually asking the community to participate, and even what is the capacity, at what capacity you are asking the peoples to participate, at what level you are asking to participate. Then the nature of the community. So every community is different. So as they have a different kind of the dynamics, so reflecting on what defines a community and how it impact participation efforts. Means if the community is so big, so that time the participation, taking the participation of every members or every subsection of the community became somehow difficult. If the community is smaller, with the strong cohesion, so it is easy to take the people's participation. So these are the important framework on which you have to keep it, you have to look into whenever you go to take the people's participation for maybe for social action or for the community organization. So overall, the post-developmental experiences has proved that if people have opportunities to participate in the decision making process, have access to management of their own individuals and common resources, the process of development is socially more acceptable and viable, economically more feasible, and efficient, with results in more sustainable. So these are the some importance of the people's participation, because when the people's more participated, they use the different capitals of present of there in their community, be it human capital, social capital, or any kind of physical capital, cultural capital. So by using the different capitals, things became more sustainable, things became more cost effective, and more you could say pronounced into more productive results. As the Skinners have suggested that community will adopt 5 roles if fully participation within a group program is possible. With these 5 roles, community members will act like as beneficiaries of the programs and users or services. So actually Skinner also looked at what individuals and then communities were actually involved in within the participative partnership as a tool to categorize participation within an effective participative structure. Roles and responsibility will be clear and transparent. Skinner suggests that a community will adapt 5 roles if fully participation within a regenerational program or within any kind of the program has been there. So as the beneficiaries, they would participate in programs and services, as a consultees and representatives of local opinions. So at what level? This is another higher level of people's participation, where they have been taken their consultation and they are given the kind of full representation in any kind of the opinion or any kind of activities actually designed for their own community. Then as a source of general community activity. So how much they are being given the chance to participate actively into that kind of process of community organization or any of the community work or community development, or even for the social action. As a source for the delivery of regenerational program. Either the committee members is given this role of as a delivery of regenerational program, or giving the whole responsibility or taking the flag of that whole programs and giving them whole leadership space for them to participate. And then as potential long-term partners in regeneration or any kind of the activities, this is the highest level of status of the communities to be taken and to be participated in any programs and policies. That is what whether the programs has given the kind of space and potential for long-term partnership with that programs and policy. So these are the different roles. At the same time, all the kind of the roles the committee members could perform, or it could perform 1 or 2, or maybe it's all overlapping. So these are the different roles what the committee member has to perform in different programs. Now coming to the different types of community participation. What are the different types of community participation? It could be passive participation, it could be participation in information giving, participation by consultation. So after understanding the role, it's important to understand the different types of participation. So participation of or community involvement can be viewed from different perspective. Community participation approach is of several types. So what are these types? Like in the passive participation, we would say that people participate by being told what is going on or going to happen or has already been happened through a unilateral announcement by administration. So that is very passive in participation, that just to inform them, right. So passive participation is when committee members are only informed or consulted about a project sometime or intervention that is planned and implemented by any external agency, like maybe it could be any NGO or governmental or any donor or any international agency or by the CSR. So this is what, just to informing them, or maybe taking some kind of the consultation with them that we are going to do this in your community, and we have already, sometime we have already done. So that's about the passive participation. Next is participation in information giving. So this level is little up. This is where people participation by answering questions posted by the extra active researchers using questionnaire surveys or similar approaches, and do not have the opportunity to influence proceedings. So here in the participation in information giving, is not having that much right to influence the things, rather just have to give in the answer. If the policy makers or the community worker or any agencies, they are working in the community, they maybe go with some kind of the research work, they had to ask some questions, so they just have to give in their answers, not having much space to influence the program. Then participation by consultation, where the people participation by being consulted, and external people listen to views and may modify these in the light of the people's responses, but do not involve them in the overall interventional aspect. So taking their consultation or modify the programs by taking the people's views, but not involving them in the interventional aspect. Next, participation for material incentives. So here people participate by providing resources, for example, labor in return for food, cash or other material incentives, yet people have no stake in prolonging activities when the incentives end. So any kind of the activities in the program which has been launched in certain areas, maybe in the rural areas, so the community members are asked to give their labor, and they have to give in their money out of on behalf of that, but they are not participating in any kind of the planning and influencing the things, and then actually informing them what they actually want. So that is what participation for material incentive. So they have been given some kind of the material or some cash, in terms of the cash, or some in terms of any kind of incentives. For example, in the programs like Manrega, where the construction of the roads of their own areas, or the construction of the dams, or any kind of the activities which has been there for the development of their own community. So where the community member, they do participate as a laborers. By giving their labor, they get the money. So that is one aspect of the Manrega. Another aspect is definitely is about ensuring the 100 days guarantee of labor or the employment of those unemployed youth of that company. That's the prime objective of the Manrega. But secondary objective is also that development of that own area by taking the participation of their own community members. On behalf of that, they have been given some kind of the material rewards in terms of money. So this is one example just comes in my mind. Next is functional participation. So functional participation are what? They are the people participated by forming groups to meet predominant objectives related to the project after major decisions have been made. So that is what the functional participation, where some groups members or some representative, they come and they they actually participated into some kind of the objectives, and even major decisions participated, but not in that so much important way, but they influence some kind of the overall programs. Interactive participation, where the people participate in the joint analysis, development of action plans, and formation or strengthening of the local institutions. So this is what a good level of people's participation, where the interactive participation has been given, the space for the joint analysis has been given, space has been given for the development of action plans. So at the time of planning to execution, so everywhere the participation has been taken from the communities. Here the level of participation is much more. Then self mobilization. This is the, you could say, the very high level of people's participation, where the people participated by taking initiatives independently of external institutions to change over the systems. So they developed the contacts with the external institutions for resources and the technical advice they need, but retain control and the advice they need, but retain control over how resources are used. So these can also take form of the social movements and bring about social change. So self mobilization is a level of people's participation which has been very common in the social action method. So while we are doing with the social action, so at that time self mobilization as in people's participation level has been there, where the people could, they themselves identify that some kind of the issues, they join together, they come forward, and then maybe for eradicating those problems and issues, they ask some kind of the assistance or kind of the support from any external agency, maybe the government or maybe any NGOs or CBOs. They do participate, but they take the wholes of the whole program. So this is what the self mobilization steps. Next is about aims of community participation. So to develop community self-reliant, this is one very important objective. Next is to develop a critical awareness. Next is about to develop problem solving skills. What is to develop community self-reliant? So this is about the empowering communities to become more independent and capable of managing their own affairs. This is very important objective and aim of communities participation or people's participation. To develop critical awareness, this is about the encouraging individuals to make aware of social, political and economic factors that affecting their communities. So this is what critical awareness. So that is what the conscientization. So their level of awareness should be enhanced through the people's participation or community participation. To develop problem solving skills. This is the highest, the greatest or the highest level of goal of the people's participation. So develop the problem solving skills among the community members. This is once they equip and communities with the skills needed to address the resolve local issues effectively. This is when this could be achieved, we could say that the community became more sustainable in terms of the development, because they have developed this capacity to deal with their own problems, right, through some kind of the negotiation, some kind of the social actions, or sometimes also through some kind of the advocacy, or taking some NGOs or some agencies into loop for the development, to bring development into their own community. So Paul in 1987 actually introduces the concept of enhancement of well-being in terms of values cherished by the communities as being the ultimate objective of participation. So as per the Paul, the concept of enhancement of well-being. So this enhancement of well-being is the topmost objective of the community participation. So in nutshell, we could say that main objective of the participation is to make the community more empowered. That is overall goal of the community's participation. Now coming to the dimensions of community participation as World Bank has given in the year 1978. So this is about the involvement of all those affected in decision making about what should be done and how. So here this is what the suggestion by the World Bank, that they have to be the community members for whom you are actually going to bring some kind of the programs, and whoever is more affected by any issues and any concern, they have to be taken into participation. So this is what the involvement of all those affected in decision making about what should be done and how. So the community members should be participated in the level that they have to say that what should be done or how they can be proceed with that. Mass contribution to the development efforts, that is the implementation of decision, mass contribution to the developmental effort. So this is the again as per the World Bank says that the whole community has to participate in the developmental aspect and in the implementation of whatever the decision has to be taken. Next, what the World Bank has says that sharing in the benefit of the program. So whatever the programs and policies which has been implemented into the community, so every member should get the chance to take the share in that developmental aspect. So this is what the kind of the dimension what the World Bank has given for the community participation in the year 1978. Involving citizens and educating them also ensures that that the solution and possibly some very creative or unconventional solution are tailored to local needs. So this is what a kind of assumptions and very positive assumptions say. I mean, in these lines we can take that if the citizen has to be educated and they get the chance to participate, the solution which is coming out from them are would be more kind of the some kind of the very creative kind of the solution could become. Sometimes some unconventional solution would become that you cannot think on. So this is what the power of the people's participation. So community engagement can take various forms depending on the context and goals. It is often employed in community planning, public policy, developmental on healthcare or education, any other fields, such as whereas decision can have a significant impact on the overall well-being of the community. So effective community engagement and community participation fosters a sense of ownership, trust and collaboration, ultimately leading to a more sustainable and equitable outcomes. Importance of people's participation. So as the Gao and Vincent in 1983 has talked about some very important, some of the importance of the people's participation as like people organized based around problems they considered most important. So this is about the community driven aspect or development where people organize usually once they get understand the issues and concern, they get once they organize around that issue. Is the what the could be possible through the people's participation. So that is very important. Importance of people's participation. Once they participated, they get to know about the issues and concerns and they get around involved into that issues and concerns. Local people tend to make better economic decisions and judgment in the context of their own environmental and circumstances. This is what the very importance of the people participation, because in every kind of the decision and judgment they has to be come from the community, and it is rightly as per the context of the community. Voluntary provisions of labor, time, money and material to a project is a necessary condition for breaking patterns of dependency and passivity. So voluntary provision of labor and time, once the people will understand, they will participate, they will actually voluntarily they come forward with their own time, with their own labor and money, with this all kind of the capital which has been available into the community. Even they are poorer enough, but they have this importance, they have a strong social capital, they have strong human capital, means a good laborers they have, skillful labor they have, or they have a culturally more oriented. Because of the kind of the resources available in that community, things became more easy and more sustainable with more with less use of the and with less wastages of resources, with maximized with maximum output. So that is what the very important function and importance of the people's participation. The local control over the amount, quality and benefit of the development activity helps make the process self-sustaining. If the people will participate, they come and they take over the kind of the amount, quality and benefits of the development. So things became more sustainable. Why this became more sustainable? Because the community itself, they do participate, because they could be the judge better, they could understand the things better, they could use those resources more in a better manner. Goff and Bensford have elaborated some another importance of the participation, that most people wants to be involved, people have intrinsic desire to get involved. So usually this is a hypothesis that and this is what the assumption we have to go for this participation, that people actually wants to participate. They have intrinsic desire to get involved into the kind of the programs. And even you go in a community, you see that people particularly in the rural areas, they just come forward and they do ask what is going on, why you people are here. So the kind of you can observe very easily from their from their expressions that they are so much interested into getting involved into that, right? Only few people, maybe some passive people are there also, but otherwise either they are active or reactive. So both way, that's very useful for you to use them and to involve them. So that is what the people wants to be involved in. Then people have right to be involved, and this is what they want to be, and that is their right to be involved. So here people's participation, as all over the world, the programs and policies, they all believe in the top to or bottom up approach, believing in the people's participation, because people have the legal entitlements to be involved and the right to redress the comment, to comment and to consulted on issues impacting their lives and their whole society. So they have all the rights because they have all the information, they are being affected by those issues, so they have all the rights to speak about. Participation has accountability. Accountability means not just being responsive, but also answerable to the people. People have the right to know what is happening and why this is happening. So any kind of the programs and policy you are going with, so this is what this is the people's right they have. This is the right of them, that they could ask what is going on in their communities. That is what, through participation, the accountability became more stronger. If the community became so passive, whatever is happening in the community they are not bothered of, so whoever agencies they are coming into that, so even they see that the peoples are not passively, they are not involved into, so they do whatever they want. So this should not be done, and accountability here is at the minimal. So once the community would participate, they would ask, they would actually conscious about what is going about in their own community, things became more accountable. So this is another very important aspect of the people's participation. Participation make more efficient and cost effective services involving people, challenges, institutionalized discrimination. So once the people would participate, things became more cost effective and then became more efficient in many ways. So overall, participation as a concept has found favor among masses, policymakers, politicians and sociologists. So it is good for all stakeholders, it is the maximum goodness for the community, but it is also helpful for the agency, for the community worker, for the social worker, for whoever is involved into that that programs and policies. This is always a kind of beneficial for everyone. It's also about the drawing on local knowledge. Community often have detailed information and knowledge about their own surroundings. It makes sense to involve communities in making the plans because they know local conditions and the responsibilities for change. So drawing on local knowledge is so important. Then making programs locally relevant and acceptable. Once the peoples would participate, so and then involved in, so choosing the priorities and then deciding on plans, it is much more likely to become involved in the program and take up the services. So making programs locally relevant and acceptable. So whenever you go for any programs, make it more relevant for them, and once it's became more relevant, so they are going to accept that. Once they are going to accept that, they would participate. Once they do participate, the things became more easy for you to get the positive result, positive outcome, and things became more easier to perform. Then empowerment. Active participation leads to more informed and empowered citizens who are better equipped to address issues like social inequality, environmental concerns and public health challenges. Next is about reduced social division and fostering a sense of belonging. Actually, through participation, it fosters a sense of connectedness and solidarity among the diverse groups, because you are there from outside maybe. But once the people would participate, they feel a kind of connection with you, and you also feel a kind of acceptance and then kind of connectivity with them. So it will be easy for you, and it reduces the kind of any disease, division between the different section of the community if everyone is coming forward and to participate. So that kind of social division would also minimize there, and also it's fostering a sense of belonging. And then building a strong social connection. This is a social and community participation serve as a fertile ground for building strong social connection through interaction in various settings. Promoting inclusivity, once you given the chance, So it became that everyone, if they getting the chance to participate, things became more inclusive for everyone who were maybe the earlier excluded. And that is what you have to keep in mind, that whenever you go for any programs and talking for the participation, thinking for the participation, take the excluded and take all those who have already been excluded and include them. So that is what promoting this inclusivity is very important for the people's participation. Enhancing personal well-being. Once the people would participate, they enhance their overall well-being, and well-being in all sense, in the social well-being, in the political well-being, even the emotional and mental well-being, because once it's what the humans, as Aristotle has said, that humans are the social animals. When they get the chance to participate and to interact with others, they have developed a kind of well-being or wellness amongst them. The impact on individuals. So overall participation is impacting in a very holistic manner to the individuals and to the community as in large. Thank you so much. This is all about the today's lecture that I have started on talking about the people's participation. We will take this people's participation in the next session. Thank you so much.